Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name's David, and this is a deck review and a magic review. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's David. Thanks for being here. I hope you like playing cards, and I hope you like magic tricks, because we've got a review that puts both of those things together. Awesome. I love magic tricks. I love playing cards. This is what my channel is devoted to. Every once in a while, usually once a month, I also do a giveaway. So make sure you're following me on Instagram and YouTube for all of that. Hit all the bells and whistles. Today we got a really special treat for you, a product that was just released. I know you all want to see the Visualies Gaff deck, but I also decided, hey, while we're here, let's look at the Optrix red deck from Mechanic Industries, because I did a review for the black deck a while back, but never did a review for the red, and the red has some cool gaffs in it, and they do marry together. I know the trailer for Visualies says that you only need this deck, and in essence that's true, but let me just make a case. I think you really need this deck also, okay? If you're gonna buy this, then you should buy this, or you should have this. You should have them both together. Let's look at the Optrix red deck from Mechanics Industries. The tuck case is very similar to the black tuck case. It's all done in a red diamond pattern that moves away from the center. It says Mechanic Industries Optrix animated playing cards illusion backs, and we'll get to what that means in a second. One side says Mechanic Industries Limited. The other side says Optrix deck red edition. The bottom has some ad copy, and the back design is the back design of the cards. You got an original tuck seal, and the tongue flaps are just red and white striped. That's pretty much everything I can say about this tuck case. Let's break it open and look inside. Back design is made up of red diamonds that kind of make a repeating pattern. But the really great thing about this deck is when it is in new deck order, okay, when it's in new deck order, it has a flip book animation style back design that makes the images bounce back and forth. And you saw this on their other decks, especially the gear one where all the gears turn. Do you remember that one? That was pretty cool. Now I mentioned gaff cards, and this deck comes with 4 of them, 4 gaff cards. You're gonna get a double backer, which of course is great for magic tricks and very versatile. You're gonna get a grinder card. This you will need the grinder coin for, and I would highly recommend that you head down to Mechanics Industries and purchase the grinder coin. It's a double facer that you can use to make it look like the coin is actually torn right out of the card. Then there's the anamorphic gaff, which can be used in connection with the regular Queen of Hearts from this deck. It's an optical illusion that looks like the card is sinking through the deck, or you can see it like invisibly inside the deck through a clear deck. And then there's the Optibox gaff, which makes your card box look empty even when there's a full deck inside. Your Ace of Spades is just a really cool ace made out of a black line pattern. And it says Mechanic Industries fixing games since 2012. Your pips and indices are gonna be black and red and standard, just like you would expect. Your court cards are also standard, but they've been stripped of all color, leaving only black and red. These cards are also printed from the United States Playing Card Company. They are a thicker B style or a casino deck. If I take 10 of these and put them in a caliper, it comes to 2.89. 2.89 is really close to 3.0, and this is gonna be a nice thick B stock. I like thicker cards because they last longer, and if you're gonna get gaff cards or gonna get cards that you're gonna use from Magic, that you're gonna use over and over and over again, you don't have to buy another deck, you definitely want a thicker stock because the paper fibers will not break down as fast. The other great thing about this deck, and the other great thing about Mechanics Industries, is once you purchase the deck, you'll be able to go out to their website and download free Magic tutorials about how to use the gaff cards inside. And here's the part of the review that you've been waiting for, the Visualies Gaff deck from Mechanic Industries. This just got released like last week. And we're gonna review this gaff deck, not only because it's hot, new, and everyone's talking about it, but also because Michael McDonald and Simon Polk requested it. I read every single comment, and I listen to you guys, and I always do the reviews that you asked for. The tuck case looks a lot like its predecessor, except it says Visualies there in the center. It also says Gaff System. So this is one reason why I would recommend getting the other deck as well, not just because you don't want the words Visualies Gaff deck on the front, but also because this gaff deck has a special card glued to the back, and you might want the other tuck case for some of the other tricks, just so that you don't have to deal with this gimmicked tuck case. But this gimmick here on the back is to hold in your hand and to make it look like you can see all the way inside the deck, like it's a transparent box. Now, a couple questions we always ask in my reviews, first of which is, what's inside the box? What's inside the box? Gaff cards, lots of gaff cards. I'm not gonna show them all to you because you've seen them in the trailer, and some of them you haven't seen, and I bet you don't know this, but a lot of non-magicians watch these reviews as well because they wanna learn the secret. And so it's not my place to reveal these cards. This is kind of one of those tricks where you should buy it if you want to see all the secrets. So I'm going to show you footage from the trailer while I talk, because that's the footage I know that is allowed to be seen by the public. The other thing you're going to get is you're going to get the download code. Download code will give you access to a video that you can download that is an hour-and-a-half long. The other thing I'll say about the gaff cards is they mostly revolve around the Queen of Hearts, which you saw from the last deck, and the Four of Clubs. Unlike other gaff decks that have lots of other cards, this one only focuses on these two, and that's so that you can pair your favorite tricks together. You know, you like, oh, I like that one and I like this one. Well, now you can do them back to back. So you can kind of script and make your own little routines out of these. Is it what I thought? Yeah, it's what I thought. It's a box of gaff cards, right? It's a box of gaff cards, and you pretty much expect that. And I don't think there's a lot of surprises. I think going through the deck when you buy it, you're gonna see, oh yeah, that's that card from the trailer. I think the trailer exposes a lot of the cards that are gonna be used anyway. I don't think there's a lot of other surprises inside the box. All right, so the question everyone's wondering is, how are the angles? How are the angles? They are angle-sensitive tricks. They are. I'll say that right off the bat, and I'll admit that. And it's definitely one good specific angle that's gonna work most of the time. It's not gonna be your angle, okay? Let's put it that way. When you're doing the tricks, it's not gonna look magical to you. And you know, sometimes I like magic tricks because you can almost fool yourself with some tricks. You know, you're just as like, that looked great. I mean, it looks good on your angle also, and you're kind of like swept up in the moment as you do it. These tricks aren't like that. These tricks don't look good from your angle, but you have to trust it. And I think this is where you have to be kind of brave. You have to trust that it's gonna look right at their angle, even though everything is going off in your head that's saying that doesn't look right. It's not gonna look right from your angle, and you're gonna have to fight the urge to make it look right on your angle because you are not the important person. The way I thought about this was, and when I was watching the instructional video, is you remember the Balducci levitation? Everybody was going crazy for it. David Blaine did it, and then everybody wanted to learn it. And then when you found out what it was, you're kind of like, look, David Blaine got a lot of mileage out of the Balducci levitation, and he got a lot of really good reactions. That trick is easy to do. It doesn't require anything at all. It's just you, your own person, but it requires you and your audience to be at a certain angle. The angle is what makes all the difference. And stage magic is exactly the same way. Stage magic is mostly forced perspective. You know, you're way far away. Sometimes you have a black curtain or you have a shiny, sparkly curtain. You are making the spectator see exactly what you want. And I would offer that these tricks are kind of like little mini stage routines where you are trying to find that sweet spot. Yes, I think these would look great on camera. I do, but these are not only camera tricks. You can definitely do these live, and we'll talk about that a little bit. I think the person I was thinking of when I was watching this was Paul Harris. You know, you read through some of the Art of Astonishment tricks, and in your head you're thinking, that would never work in real life. I don't think Paul Harris would have put it in his books if he thought it would never work in real life. Paul Harris was not even thinking about social media magic back then. Paul Harris is brave. He's willing to try things that maybe some lesser brave magicians would try, lesser brave. He takes risks. You know, he takes risks, and he talks about why you take risks. You take risks because the reward is going to be that much greater when it works. And I would say these are definitely those styles of tricks. You have got to be brave. You've got to be fast. You've got to be brave. You've got to be fast. You've got to trust, and you're going to get those huge reactions. Can it be inspected? I always say you should never inspect gaff cards. These aren't tricks that you inspect. Some of them aren't even full fleshed out tricks with patter. I would say these are more like bumpers or visual eye candy that happen between beats or after tricks. Like you just did a trick with this card and now watch what I do with it, and then boom, you don't even give the person a chance to catch their breath. They almost have this moment of wonder and like a WTF moment, and then it's gone. All right, so what's the setup on this, or what's the reset? Every single trick's gonna be a little bit different. I think with some tricks, definitely, you're gonna need X-Acto knives, you're gonna need scissors, you're gonna need double stick tape. Some of them, you're gonna even need some other objects like magnets. So just be aware of that going in. There's some arts and crafts with about 4 or 5 of these tricks. All right, so what's the overall quality and production value of the instructional video? Jimmy K is your teacher. He's gonna do this seated against a black mat on a table with a white background, and he's always gonna show you the spectator's view. He's not gonna talk about the spectator's view at all. But as you watch this, I think you're definitely gonna get an idea of where the spectator should be. You're gonna see all these tricks in magician's view, and you're also gonna see these in spectator's view. When you watch it in magician's view, it'll be in slow motion, which really helps a lot. And like I said earlier, your view looks really knacky, but you're not gonna see what they see. Some areas of the video had no sound or music at all. It was kind of like, what happened? But you just keep watching. You have the same repetitive music in the background, but it's not annoying. What are you gonna learn on this? You're gonna learn 17 different tricks. 17 different tricks. There's actually an 18th bonus trick. I don't know why it's called bonus when it's, it's there, but you get 18 tricks in total. And as you go through it, I kind of just pulled out the gaff cards that were needed for each one. I don't think the gaff cards are used from trick to trick. I think every single grouping is its own trick, and you would separate it out as its own. And really, that's the way I kind of thought about this. I didn't think of this as a gaff deck, like a utility deck. I thought of this like as you're purchasing 17 individual packet tricks. 17 individual packet tricks in one box. So the first trick is a box unload. The tuck is on the table. It looks transparent, like you can actually see the table beneath it. And when you pick it up, you can see your hand beneath it. Yet when you open the tuck case, the cards all slide out. This only uses one card and the tuck case. Blender is where the Queen of Hearts blends into the back of the stack of cards. I think it only uses 2 or 3 cards. And it's pretty much the same trick-ish that came with the previous deck. And then Anamorph is like Blender on steroids. It's a card rise animation of the Queen of Hearts. She's inserted into the deck and then she rises visibly all the way to the top. This one uses 11 cards. 4x4 is really fun. It's one of my favorites. It's a single card. Let's say it's a 4, and then it splits into 2 smaller little 2 cards. And then those split again and become 4 aces. You're gonna need 2 cards and an X-Acto knife. There's also an extra bonus trick that comes in with this, where you do the same thing but with a Queen of Hearts, and she just shrinks down smaller and smaller and smaller. Stripper is that one you've seen in the trailer where the Queen of Hearts loses her clothes. It uses 3 different cards, and he's gonna teach you 2 ways to do it. One of the ways involves an X-Acto knife, and you cut the clothing out. The second one involves just using a card that has her clothes glued onto it. Twister is one of the other visual card tricks you see in the trailer. It uses 3 different cards, and you need to use scissors with this one, but it's basically where you take a card and you twist it visually right in front of them. Behind the Curtain uses 2 cards from the deck. It's the pull back down reveal of the Queen of Hearts, where you kind of slide the back pattern back and to reveal the card beneath. Smashed is a fun little quickie. It's a broken card effect where you show the card and then you smash it with your fist or a hammer and it shatters. U-Torn is another one of my favorites. It only uses 2 cards from the deck. It's a torn and restored card trick, and to be honest with you, I think it's one of my very favorite torn and restored tricks ever. Tetrix uses 2 cards. It's a fun little card reveal where the spectator visually watches the back design fall off onto the table. And it does use a fair amount of arts and crafts, but this is one of the easier tricks. Turbine uses a lot of arts and crafts. It's a spin reveal, kind of like the bird in the birdcage, spin card visual illusion. It uses either the 4 of clubs or the Queen of Hearts as a reveal. Like I said, there's lots of arts and crafts. You're gonna need chopsticks, glue, double stick tape, and 5 cards from the deck. Drop Zone, this is one of the tricks where I would suggest that you need the grinder coin. Head on down to Mechanic Industries website. You can pick them up for about 10 bucks. It also uses 2 cards from the deck. It's where a coin drops visually into the deck and then you find the coin. The nice thing about this is if you don't have the grinder coin, they also give you cards to use a Liberty half. I would also add this is a great trick that you could do without the gaff with any deck as long as you had any large dealer coin. In Omni, the mechanics coin drops into a hollow or transparent deck and it uses 3 cards. Sans Position, this is probably my favorite trick on the entire download. It's a sandwich trick and a transposition. 2 cards sandwich the 6 of diamonds and it pops back and forth between the 2 hands. Twisted Kings is another great trick. It's a twisting the aces trick done in the hands, but really streamlined. It uses 5 different cards. It's probably my second favorite on this entire download. It's got a really great kicker ending where the kings transform into aces. Triumphing only uses 1 card, and it's basically an add-on card that you would add to your favorite Triumph routine. He's gonna teach you a very fast Triumph routine, but it allows you to show the deck still mixed up after you've righted it. And then lastly, Waltzer is a really quick trick where the queen and the 4 become a double facer and then separate again. And then in addition to all those, you're gonna get 4 extra cards, 4 extra single cards that you can use as, card to any location, and you're gonna get 2 extra double backers. All right, so how much practice does this involve? I mean, we gotta talk about practice because I think this is also gonna go hand in hand with angles. I think when you watch the trailer, I think a lot of young magicians and a lot of novice hobby magicians are gonna say, ooh, I want this. And I think the experienced card guys, the mechanics, are gonna be like, that's just visual eye candy for the kids. And I think those 2 audiences are reversed. This deck is really for the mechanics. Like if I was gonna think of somebody off the top of my head, Daniel Madison would be able to pull all these tricks off easy, okay? You gotta be a card mechanic. You gotta have some intermediate to advanced level style in your repertoire. And let me just run through a bunch of things I think you should already have coming into this, because he's not gonna stop and slow down and teach you how to do this stuff. He's hitting it and flying by. And if you don't know how to do these things, I think you're gonna be frustrated. So right away, there's black art involved with the mat, not with his shirt. I thought there was black art involved with his shirt, but there isn't. You're gonna have to do palming and loads and Tenkai palm, lots and lots of Tenkai palm in this video. Color changes, lots of color changes, Erdnase change, paintbrush change. There's some Leonard Green stuff in there. The good news is, the cards are so fantastic. The cards are so visual. Your spectators have never seen anything like these cards. If you're fast enough, I think their attention is gonna be on that card that is in the one hand, and they're not gonna have any idea what the other hand is doing. They're not gonna be watching your other hand. If you're doing this fast enough, your spectators won't even have time to burn you, because they'll be looking down at the weird card going, what is that? And then in that flash second, you're doing something over here, and then coming in for your change. And they will not even see it coming. But again, I'm gonna say, you're gonna have to be able to pull off your sleights well and at the right angle and fast, which means lots of practice, probably practicing these things in the mirror, and then also again with an honest friend. But let me throw in there that even though you might not know some of these sleights, it's okay. There are some tricks that he offers with a variation. He says, if you don't want to do that, you can do this. So he does give you some different variations. Plus, I think when you watch the trick, you could come up with your own method. You could come up with your own method if you wanted to. But I will say a lot of these tricks, angle-wise, works best seated, works best at a table, works best with a card mat. Positives. All right, so what are the positives? The Visualize deck is a Gaff worker's toolbox of wonder and amazement. Your spectators have never seen anything like this before. Negatives. All right, so what are the negatives? I always talk about the good and the bad. I want to be fully upfront with you. That's why we talked about angles, right? That's why I talked to you about what kind of skill level you need. The other negatives I had with this were he never really goes through slowly which cards you need for each trick. I mean, you figure it out, you do figure it out, but there isn't like one paused moment where he says, get these 5 cards out of your deck, and then combine this with your standard deck and these 2 normal decks from your, there's not a lot of time devoted to setup. Like I said, you figure it out, you do figure it out. It's there in the video, but he just doesn't stop and pause and slow down. I think part of that is, it's an hour-and-a-half download. So, just to save space, he's counting on you to figure it out. Second, like I was saying earlier, he's not going to teach you how to do all these sleights. So if you don't know these sleights, I think you're going to purchase this and you're going to feel very frustrated. You're going to have to go out to another resource and learn these sleights yourself. The other thing is he doesn't talk about performance angle ever. He doesn't talk about the need for it or how to do it. So, but again, like I said, when you watch it, you are watching the best performance angle. And I think that's something that you're just gonna have to practice with a friend and then just ask them, how does this look, right? How does this look? And do I need to go a little faster? Do I need to give this a little bit more cover? Do I need to hold my hand at a different position? But trust me, you can pull these off in the real world. Is it worth your money? It's 30 bucks. $30 is about on par with what other gaff decks in the industry run. I don't think that's outrageous. Plus the fact that you get an hour and a half worth of downloads. And like I said earlier, don't think of it as a gaff trick. Think of it as you're buying 17 to 18 pack of tricks all at once, right? You're buying 17 to 18 pack of tricks all at once. There's no way you could buy 17 tricks for $30, right? There's no way. Plus to have the download and all the teaching that goes along with it, you're definitely getting your money's worth. Who would like this? I think for one, if you're attracted to the trailer and you're like, ooh. Two, I think if you have some of the other Mechanics Industries decks, I think you're gonna want this to go with those. Again, it's not for the timid. It's not for the timid. It's not for the faint at heart. If you're one of those people that are kind of unsure, I think it's gonna come across in your body language. You gotta be a confident magician. You gotta be kind of a mechanic, a card mechanic also, and someone who's brave, willing to take risks. But if you are, I think the payoff is awesome. All right, so that's everything I can say about the Visualies Gaff deck right now from Mechanic Industries. I got mine at penguinmagic.com, and I know they have it in stock. I would suggest you get it there as well. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end. I have a little piece of advice for you. If you think some of these tricks might be out of your skill range, or you get packet tricks that are sometimes out of your skill range, I would recommend a small book, Counts, Cuts, Moves, and Subtlety from Jerry Metzer. If you get that book, it's like a little booklet. There's a lot of great things in there. They're gonna help you, not just with this gaff deck, but with a lot of other packet tricks that you might purchase. That little packet book covers a whole range of different types of moves and cuts and sleights that usually packet tricks involve. So I would recommend that as well in your purchase.